It was November 24th, 1971, the day before Thanksgiving in the United States. The Portland International Airport was busy, filled with travelers eager to get home for the holidays. No one could have guessed that among the crowd that day stood a man who would soon become a legend of mystery. A man whose story would baffle the FBI for decades. He was neatly dressed in a dark suit, white shirt, and thin black tie. He calmly approached the counter and bought a one-way ticket to Seattle, Washington. The name on the ticket read simply, Dan Cooper. Nothing seemed out of the ordinary until the plane took off. Cooper boarded Northwest Orient Airlines Flight 305, a Boeing 727-100. A short 30-minute flight, just a hop from Portland to Seattle. He sat in seat 18C, lit a cigarette, ordered a bourbon and soda, and quietly watched the world outside the window. Moments later, he called over a flight attendant, Florence Schaefer, and handed her a folded note. At first, she thought he was flirting, until Cooper leaned closer and whispered, "Miss, you'd better read that note. I have a bomb shocked." Florence opened the note. It read, "Greater than, I have a bomb in my briefcase. Sit next to me." When she sat down, Cooper calmly opened the case, showing 8 red cylinders wired to a battery. Whether real or fake, nobody dared to find out. Then, with an eerily polite tone, he listed his demands. $200,000 in cash, 4 parachutes, and a fuel truck ready in Seattle to refuel the plane for a getaway. "If you do exactly what I say," he promised, "no one will get hurt." The pilots informed air traffic control, and soon the FBI and the airline's executives were alerted. Meanwhile, D.B. Cooper remained calm. He sipped his drink, smoked another cigarette, and even offered to pay for the crew's meals. For more than 2 hours, the plane circled Seattle, waiting for authorities to gather the ransom money and parachutes. The passengers were told only that there was a minor mechanical delay. At 5:46 p.m., the plane finally landed in Seattle. The FBI delivered the money, $200,000 in $20 bills, all with recorded serial numbers. Cooper checked the money briefly, then allowed all 36 passengers to leave the plane. Only the crew remained. After refueling, Cooper gave the pilots precise instructions. Fly south toward Mexico City, keep the altitude below 10,000 feet, maintain a speed under 200 miles per hour, and keep the rear staircase lowered and ready to deploy. The pilots realized something. Only a Boeing 727 could be exited mid-flight through a rear stairway. Whoever this man was, he clearly knew his aircraft. Around 8 p.m., as rain poured over the Pacific Northwest, the cockpit light flashed. The rear stairway had been lowered. The crew felt a sudden pressure shift. Moments later, a small jolt. When the pilots looked back, D.B. Cooper was gone. He had jumped into the stormy darkness, with $200,000 strapped to his body and a parachute on his back. No one saw him fall. No one saw him land. He had vanished, mid-air. The largest manhunt in U.S. history began immediately. Hundreds of FBI agents, soldiers, and volunteers searched forests and rivers across Washington and Oregon. But there was no trace, no parachute, no money, no body. It was as if D.B. Cooper had evaporated into thin air. Years later, in 1980, a young boy camping near the Columbia River discovered $5,800 in decayed $20 bills. Serial numbers matched Cooper's ransom. Yet there was no other evidence nearby. It was the only physical clue ever found. Over the decades, hundreds of theories emerged. Some believed Cooper was a former military paratrooper, skilled enough to survive the jump. Others thought he died instantly, his body lost forever in the wilderness. A few even suspected the crew, claiming it was an inside job. The FBI investigated over 1,000 suspects, including a man named Richard McCoy, who hijacked a similar Boeing 727 months later. But DNA and evidence never matched. In 2016, after 45 years of searching, the FBI officially closed the case, leaving behind only questions, not answers. To this day, no one knows who D.B. Cooper really was. Was he a desperate criminal who died chasing freedom? Or a mastermind who disappeared to live quietly under a new identity? His face, calm, confident, unbothered, remains frozen in one of the most famous FBI sketches ever made. His name has become a symbol of mystery, rebellion, and legend. Somewhere, above the stormy skies between Portland and Seattle, the wind still whispers his name. And maybe, just maybe, D.B. Cooper is still out there, smiling in the shadows, having pulled off the perfect crime. Like and subscribe so you don't miss the next interesting story.